home/computer. You get it. I'm here now. Today, I spent some time with a client who I've been working with for the last few months on a changeover from Simply Accounting to QuickBooks. And QuickBooks did the changeover, like the software company, QuickBooks, you know what QuickBooks is, actually did the move from Simply Accounting to QuickBooks, and it didn't go well. So that's what's on my mind today, and that's what I'm talking about. Are you thinking about changing accounting software in your business, maybe? Do you have one that maybe you've outgrown, or you're using something that doesn't feel like a good fit anymore? And then, maybe you're thinking about changing to another software. There are tons and tons of accounting apps, believe it or not. The big ones, QuickBooks, Wave is now a big one, Xero, and Simply Accounting are kind of the four major players in the accounting software space. But there are tons and tons of apps that are doing sort of a simplified bookkeeping idea. So things like Dubsado or Honeybook, 17 Hats. There's tons of them. I don't know all of them. But those softwares are usually customer relationship managers like CRMs, or their project managers, or their booking apps that allow you to run your invoices through it. So you can actually charge your customers through these apps. So it records your sales for you, and in some cases you can record your expenses in there too. Now, these apps are not full accounting apps, so when you're really small, maybe that's all that you need, but as the company grows, you're definitely going to need something else. So a lot of times the apps that are not considered accounting apps, like Dubsado, 17 Hats, that kind of thing, but that do it as well, will connect to another app like QuickBooks or Xero or Wave or something like that. Probably not Wave, but maybe Xero or QuickBooks, and they can talk to each other. I did a video a little while ago, I'll link to that in the description, about apps talking to your QuickBooks file. So I'm not going to get into that now, but maybe you're looking to just full on change to a new system, or you're using Wave but you've just outgrown it and you need something a little bit more robust, or you're using a system that you thought was going to work for you but it's just not a good fit. It doesn't sync to the way that you think about your business or you think about accounting. So I recommend, one, understanding what you need from your accounting app. If you don't know what you want from it or what your current workflow is, it's going to be really hard to choose the best one for you. And if you haven't been doing this very long, then it's tough to know what your workflow even is. So definitely spending some time really nailing down, like, what do you want this thing to do for you? What are you currently doing that it can replace? And not getting sucked into all the shiny features of all the things that these apps can do. So I've linked to a YouTube video about how to choose an app, so I'm not going to go into that either. But I do want to talk about the actual change from one system to another. So we've gone through the decision-making process. We're at the point where we're like, yes, I definitely want to change to this new software, and I'm ready to do it. So a lot of softwares will do a migration for you. They'll take the data from your old software and they'll convert it to their new, to the new software. And it's not as straightforward like download your QuickBooks file and then upload it to your Xero account, because they have different database structures and different code and lots of other technical things that I don't understand. And so just doing a straight across file move is not that simple. So a lot of times the company will actually do it for you. But what happens is these databases and the language that the company uses to describe the file doesn't always match up. So sometimes when you try and do a changeover or a migration, it just doesn't really work. And you try and get all your historical data from one file to another, and you end up with a huge mess, a huge mess. I have only ever seen it from the QuickBooks side. QuickBooks is my preferred app to use, so I've only seen conversions to QuickBooks, and they don't always go well. In fact, I had one that just plain failed, and so we couldn't do that. And I had one, like I was talking about earlier, where it just didn't, it was going from Simply Accounting to QuickBooks, and all the Simply Accounting information went in as journal entries instead of like an invoice or a bill payment or a check, or like the individual types of transactions. It just went all in as journal entries. And some of the like customers and vendors, and anyways, like, I don't need to get into the details. It didn't work. It kind of worked, and then we spent a long time, like a number of hours, trying to figure it out and untangle the mess. And every time we smooth a little piece out, it was like we'd open another can of worms. It was like untangling like a ball of yarn, and like you kind of get one piece of it, and then you just like created another piece of tanglement. So, disaster. I just don't recommend trying to do a migration from any system to any system. It doesn't have to be QuickBooks. It just doesn't work. I've seen in my corporate time before I was a small business owner, I've seen big companies do migrations. They have a lot of people working on them, and they're very big, robust systems that we just don't use as small business owner. And it doesn't work. It never works. So what do? You want to change systems. You don't want to be stuck to the system that you have now. What do? You get to the end of a year. I recommend the end of a year. Close the year, and like everything is done in that system up until, like, say your year end is July 31st. Everything is done to July 31st. It's all reconciled. Everything gets, all your adjusting entries are in, all the things. Your accountant is like, yep, done, closed. Take that closing balance, so all the numbers from all of the accounts, and just put that into the new system. So you run what's called a trial balance that literally has every account and every balance currently in that account on the very last day of your fiscal year. And then you post a journal entry that just mirrors that exact thing. So say you had $100 in your checking account, and you had $100 of accounts receivable and like $200 of accounts payable, then you would just go into your new system and you would just post $100 to your checking account, $100 to your accounts receivable, and $200 to accounts payable, and move on. A lot of people don't love this solution because all of your historical data is in the prior system. So if you wanted to go and search for like customer history, if one of your customers was like, hey, how much have I spent in the last calendar year with you, then you would have to kind of cobble together two reports from one system. But it's so much better. It's worth it to just run two systems, in a sense, have the old system with the data up to your year-end point or whatever the changeover date was. So in our example, it's July 31st. And then everything after July 31st is in the new system, because you know your data is complete and accurate in the old system. You know that the opening balance in the new system is correct, and you know that the new system is complete and accurate as well. And all of those things means that you have good data. Trying to do a migration and having bad data in the new system is not a good start. And it means that you're going to be untangling stuff for a long time. It's better to just have the two systems, have a clean break where you need it. And then, before you know it, it's been 5 years and you don't even need the other system, or 7 years, or whatever it is that you want to retain your accounting records for. This is different than receipts. I'm not talking about receipts. I'm talking about specifically your accounting records. Yeah. So that's my best recommendation for doing a accounting system changeover. Just have a really clean close and move the closing balance to the new system. It's so much simpler. It takes a lot less time, and it's just cleaner. It's overall cleaner. If you're thinking about doing this, you're still not sure, you've watched the videos that I left for you, you can definitely book a call with me. I'd love to chat with you about it. You can get 30 free minutes with me to chat about this or about anything, really. If you have questions that you just want answered in a video or in the comments, leave those for me in the comments, and I'll answer it for you. I'll see you tomorrow.